Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the replay viewers. My name is Kiani B, and we're going to be doing a short interview tonight with the keynote speaker for the Write It Out Lunch and Learn. So I'll give you a few moments for everybody to come in and join us. Hey, Court. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Hope everyone's day was good. Hi, Miss Deborah. Hey, Dre. Hey, bro. So we're going to be doing a quick interview, and I am waiting for our keynote speaker to jump on. And if you guys have questions too, you can feel free to ask her. Hey, C. And there she goes. Let's see, I'm trying to bring them on. Let's see if that's working.
Okay, I was trying to go live this way, but it said I had to rotate my phone. So now I got to reposition my little stand. So give me one moment to reposition my stand.
No problem.
Okay. See, I thought I was all ready. See what happens when you think? All righty.
Yes, that's so good to see you.
It's awesome to see you as well.
So you guys, you guys that don't know, you guys hear the feedback? Can you hear it?
I can
I
hear
want to know if you can listen.
I'm not getting feedback, but maybe the viewers are.
Let's see here. I want to make sure that they can hear you.
Okay.
Sierra, Deborah, I want to make sure you guys are not hearing the feedback on the video. Yeah, there isn't go. Let me check something.
Well, as you guys are popping in, if you're an author, put your title of your book in the comments so I can check it out after the broadcast. So if you're an author, you've already written a book, or you've been a co-author in a book project, like an anthology, put the title in the comments, and I'll definitely check it out once we're done.
Okay. Do you guys still hear me?
Let me check something.
Okay, so I have my volume down. I turned it down some more. I don't want to turn it all the way so I can make sure I can hear.
Right.
So I turned mine down. Say something, Kiani?
Checking. Yeah, I still hear that.
Say something else.
Testing.
Okay, I have my volume all the way down.
There is a delay. It's not, I don't hear it on your side. I only hear it on mine.
I don't want to make it excruciating.
Hey guys, since I turned my volume down, has the echo gotten any better? Because maybe it's gotten better since I turned my volume down.
Let's see. Yeah. I'm debating if we should start it again, but I think that it will still do that.
She said it's better, but still there on you, Kiani. Okay, Andre said you're coming in clear. So I say let's just go for it.
Okay, let's go for it. All right, guys, thank you so much
For joining us tonight. So this beautiful lady here is the beautiful Miss Audra R Upchurch. And I love her bio. It's really short. I'm going to give it to you. Audra Upchurch is an award-winning, best-selling author, speaker, and entrepreneur who encourages men and women to find their voice and shape their story. With a passion to support leaders, create meaningful manuscripts, Audra understands that owning and sharing our individual truth is an important ingredient of who we are to leave a lasting legacy. So in 2 weeks, we have a book writing lunch and learn March 2nd in Hampton, Virginia. And Audra is our keynote speaker. I want to say that she's also an Achi sister of mine. She won the 2018 Author of the Year Achi Magazine Award, which was very honorable. And I had the pleasure of meeting her at the nominee luncheon last October.
Yeah.
And it was a room full of about 100 and almost over 150 women.
Yes.
And just sharing their heart and their gifts and their God-given talents, passions, and their desires. And out of the whole room, many stuck out to me, but she was one that I remembered. Because she said she wrote meaningful manuscripts. And I myself, being a published author, understand the importance and the vitality of making sure that what you write leaves a legacy. So I immediately connected with her, and I also found out she was a New York native.
Yay.
And although we had the Battle of the Boroughs, which is a natural thing. Audra, where you from?
Brooklyn, baby. Brooklyn's where it's at.
Like always, every Brooklynite feels the same. And I myself from the Bronx. But we immediately clicked. I loved her spirit. And when the Lord told me to do this, she was the one that came to my heart because I believe that she could really bring forth the vision of what God wants to do with the writers at the beginning of 2019. Okay, so I want to let her share a little bit about who she is and what she does, and then I'm going to ask her some questions. So Audra, take it away.
First of all, thank you so much, Kiani, for inviting me on your platform for your tribe and your followers. Just like you, when we met at Achi, I was so taken with you. Everything about your presence just commanded respect, but it's a graceful manner. And that means a lot to me. You know, as women in business, sometimes we forget to have that softer, intimate side and to be vulnerable with other women. And you came across so transparent that you really grabbed me. And I don't know if I said that to you, so I definitely wanted to take the time and say that to you here publicly, because I think it's so important as women and as business women and as leaders that we not just lead, we also be willing to be open and be vulnerable and share
Right.
and know that it's a safe thing to do with other women. And that's why I
That's
also
so good.
love Achi and the women that I saw in the room that day, because y'all had me from the moment I walked in the door.
Yeah.
So, like Kiani
Yeah,
mentioned,
thank you so
guys,
much.
I'm from Brooklyn, so I lived in Virginia 20 years, so my accent gonna sound kind of weird. But I was born in New York City, and to a mother who suffered with mental illness. And by the time I was 15, my mom's illness had just spiraled way out of control, and I found myself homeless. If you can imagine New York City in the 80s when crack hit, 15 years old with no adult supervision, my life was truly a struggle. And unfortunately, I became ashamed of that struggle. I became ashamed of my experiences, pregnant at 17, lost custody of my son, had another child, struggled on welfare, Section 8, you name it, I was the poster child for it.
Right.
Thankfully, later on in my late 20s, early 30s, I left New York and I relocated to Virginia, and I created a new life for myself, right? And I became this corporate dynamo and bought the house and had the cars and got the degrees. And I left that poor little girl behind and became very ashamed when people from the past would friend me on Facebook, because I would think, oh my gosh, they remember when. Anybody relate?
Yeah.
Has anybody been through some
Yes.
things that you just don't want nobody else to remember?
Yes.
Right, when
I definitely can relate.
that was me. So here we are today. Now I've been an author in 4 books, which have all hit bestseller, and I've shared a lot of those painful, really painful memories. But I've learned that they are now today things to embrace and to no longer be ashamed of. Because without those experiences, I wouldn't have been that corporate dynamo. I would not have been able to navigate through corporate America. I wouldn't have been able to build long-lasting relationships and connect with amazing women like Kiani. It was those things that I went through that made me who I am. So I've learned to embrace them and to share them openly without any shame and produce meaningful manuscripts.
Wow. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. And I can definitely relate. Just coming through different seasons in your life and remembering the that when. And something personally for me is that something God let me know is that if you don't tell people what happened, He can't get the glory out of the situation.
That's right.
So it's important because people say, oh, I've overcome and I made it through. But if you don't tell people what happened, how you got out, how you made it through, part of that can still be in vain.
Right. We overcome through the words of our testimony.
Yes.
So we have to be willing. You know, our stories, these are our testimonies. These are things we're going to leave behind for those that follow after, who have no clue how to get through their own situations.
Right.
You know, and so we have to be willing to share and be transparent and be vulnerable.
Okay. Can you, hear me?
I can hear you now. You went out for a second, but I'm here.
Perfect.
But can I give a shout out to some of my co-authors that are watching real quick? Michelle, Mickey Jones, Winifred. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting. And I hope after this broadcast you check out Achi Magazine.
Yes. Yes. So one of the things that we're going to do that I am totally excited about in this workshop is we're going to write an attention-grabbing hook.
Yes.
Please explain to them what that is.
Oh, no. They learn that at the workshop. We all the goods. We're not going to give them all the goods. But what I will say is this. Yes. The importance of an attention-grabbing hook is that you want to grab your reader from the beginning, right?
Right.
You want to pull them in because we all have so much happening. Even right now, I know you guys are probably watching this broadcast while you yelling at the kids. Some of y'all cooking dinner, right? Some might even be driving home. We all have so many distractions. Right. So when it comes to sitting down to read a book, you want to grab that reader. Right. You have only a few seconds to do it, because if not, all the other distractions come in. So we're going to talk about how to develop that hook. So not only will you grab them, but you'll grab them and you'll retain their attention for the entirety of the story. So yeah, it's going to be hot. Can't wait.
I am so excited about that. What are some of the things that new authors don't consider, but they should? I'm talking about the fresh, new baby authors. What are some of the things that they should consider that they don't consider?
Well, one thing new authors should consider is it is not your job to edit the story. Just write the story. A lot of times new authors get hung up with, I left school 20 years ago and my English teacher was hard on me then. I could only get a D in English and now you want me to tell my story. They get so hung up on the technical stuff, but that's not your job. Doesn't that feel good to know you don't have to worry about that?
Yeah.
That's the editor's job. That's the person you're going to hire to clean it up, tighten it up, and get it all perfected, right? It's just your job to tell your story.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Isn't that
tell it like you.
Yes. Isn't that two sides of your brain operating at the same time, trying to edit and create?
Yes.
At the same time, I learned that the hard way. And I noticed that those were times when I thought I had quote unquote writer's block.
Right.
Because I was trying to correct as I was writing. So that's
that's the one thing you do not want to do. You do not want to edit while you write. As I tell some of my co-authors that are watching right now, I say write. Do not try to edit. Even if your first paragraph and your second paragraph and your fourth paragraph don't go together, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Keep writing.
Yes.
Right? It'll get fixed in the editing process.
As a new author, when you first started, what was one mistake that you made that you would warn others about?
Honestly, I was too concerned with what other people thought.
Yeah.
I was really concerned. I was so fearful that the things I was sharing, because my first book was as a co-author in a book titled Shift Happens. And in it, we shared inspirational stories of how we overcame. And so I shared about being pregnant. It opens up with me on the delivery table at 17 years old, terrified, homeless, having some baby. Right. Meanwhile, I was in corporate America working, making six figures, and my coworkers didn't know anything about the life I had 20-something years, well, actually 30 years ago. My son was 32. Jesus. Right. So my coworkers didn't know that part. They didn't know that I had been on welfare. They didn't know all those things, right? And so I was so concerned with what are they going to think of me and how will they view me when I reveal my truth. So I worried so much about those people instead of focusing on the people that my story was going to help. So I think new writers, focus on your reader. Focus on the person that's waiting for the life-changing story you're going to share. And it will overshadow any of the naysayers that you think are going to read your story.
Now, you are 3 times Amazon bestseller.
Oh, no. 4.
4 times Amazon bestselling author. And that is a high achievement.
Thank you.
The first time you made bestseller, was that what you were aspiring to do?
Well,
how did that come about?
You know, the first time I was just excited to write. I was just excited to finally get that story in there. I remember sitting there with my finger on the send button to submit. And I was terrified. Can y'all imagine? Come on, y'all. Can anybody imagine what that feels like? You know, you don't pour your heart and soul, all your fears, all your mistakes, your highs and your lows. And I was sitting there like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
So that was the exciting part. And right when we were working on the bestseller strategy, I had a family catastrophe happened. Like a family nightmare happened that almost overshadowed the whole experience. So the fact that with the first book we hit number 3, and I was so excited just to be able to say I was a bestseller, because I respect books. Like, I have a background in books. I was a bookstore manager in New York City for years, worked in 3 different bookstores. You a New Yorker, 6th Avenue, 8th Street, in the Village.
Yes.
5th Avenue, 52nd, downtown on Maiden Lane, 3 different bookstores, and I worked for 2 different book distributors. So I have a huge respect for the industry. So to hit number 3 first time was amazing. So then the second time, when it hit number 1 in 10 categories, and then the third and the fourth, you know, each time it's like you have a new baby, you get excited all over again. It's like that each time. Excited all over again. It's an amazing feeling.
So would you say that to be a bestseller is not like your direct focus, but your direct focus would be just making sure that you're authentic and sharing your story?
Let me tell you something. Bestseller is nice. It's a great accomplishment. It feels good, looks nice on paper. Yeah. But what truly makes my day, and I wish I could show you on my phone right now, was actually a text message I got today from someone that I met. You see my little hair is all shaved? Little female barber. Shout out Bria.
Okay.
From what is the name of Girls That Fade? Shout out Girls That Fade. And we met at the barbershop, and we talked about business. So she was a young entrepreneur, shared that I was an author. She went on her own and downloaded Unchain Me Mama. Unchain Me Mama's on the broadcast, and you had my co-authors on the broadcast. Shout out hashtag Unchain Me Mama. She messaged me and said, oh my gosh, I cannot put your book down. This is changing my life. These women have shared. She was so just amazed. And I'm reading her text and I'm in tears.
Yeah.
Because this girl is in her early 20s. She's the age of my daughters. You know, so to know that this book is relevant to her and was encouraging her and inspiring her, man, that's better than any bestseller badge that I'll ever get.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm getting
so good. That is so good.
Yes.
And congratulations on the new grandbaby.
Thank you. Number 3. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. You know, to any new authors that are watching, or any aspiring authors, or anyone who's ever been through something and even considered sharing your story, don't wait.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Yeah. Nor do we know what condition we'll be in next month, next week, next year. But your story, once it's written, it's there forever. If I leave this world tomorrow, my little grandson that was just born yesterday will be able to read and know about me intimately.
That's so good.
You can't put a price tag on that.
Yes. Yeah, that's what history is like his or her story.
Yes.
And I talk to so many people that says, you know, I'm going to write a book, and they've been planning it for years.
Right.
Literal years. And one of the things that I found is that, especially when people share the life story, is they don't know how to segment it, have cut-off parts, different seasons, different times. And they almost kind of get in their own way, and they keep procrastinating it over, you know, kind of over time, and then it becomes something you put on the shelf or that journal in your pillow. What do you think is one of the number one things that prevent the initial step that says, okay, I'm going to publish, I'm going to do this? And do you have any, because you're self-published, right?
Yes, I've self-published, and I've also used a boutique publisher, so I've done both.
Done both. See? So wealth of wisdom. What do you think are, I guess, one of the biggest hindrances, because sometimes people don't know what's blocking them. And they don't realize, sometimes people that procrastinate don't realize that they are in fact procrastinating.
Right. Right.
So what have you found, and all the people that you've helped, has been one of the biggest hindrances that has held them back from taking the initial steps forward?
You know, one of the biggest hindrances that I've seen from authors, people who want to write but just keep putting it off, is lack of knowledge. They're procrastinating because they really don't know which way to go. And then when they think about doing the research, it gets so overwhelming, or they don't have time, or both.
Right.
So if you can bridge the gap of the knowledge, right, and the time, that kind of helps for them. That's why I think it's so important people understand that books is an industry, just like any other industry. And I would highly encourage anyone who ever wants to write is to connect with some type of book consultant. Like, I'm a publishing consultant. I'm not a publisher, right? So I can help you figure out which direction to go, whether you want to go the traditional route, whether you want to use a boutique publisher, or whether you want to self-publish based on what your objectives are. And I help you flesh all of that out. So I think if people have the knowledge, then they're more ready to take action. But it's hard to take an action when you don't know what action to take.
Right.
And that's where most people get stuck.
So,
can anybody relate? Anybody watching? Can y'all relate? If you can relate, put in the comments.
Yeah, they're definitely tuned in. Yeah, they're definitely tuned in. And I've published 4 books, and I made a lot of mistakes, but the books were very impactful. And I love, just like you said, the feedback of how it blessed others, how it changed the direction of their lives and gave them different understanding, perspective, and even healing. But the other part that I didn't consider was after you write the book.
Ciao.
The what's next.
Yes.
And some of the things that we'll be doing at the workshop, what I've made is goodies for them, which giving them ideas on how to leverage the book, how to make different income streams from the book. They become an automatic entrepreneur, and I don't think they connect the two. Realizing that, you know, you're going to be a self-publisher responsible for your sales, your marketing, you're getting the word out, and there's just different moving pieces to it. But like you said, knowledge is key, because oftentimes you can have all the ideas in your head, you just don't know what's next. So do you think that, well, actually, I'm going to answer that. I'm going to ask you another question. Whether you've already authored a book or not, I think the workshop will benefit. Because I've also seen oftentimes where people have launched their book and they had no audience. No one knew who they were. And that, you know, that was a big struggle within itself. You know, they kind of have the term of the launch to cricket.
Right.
And so those are the things too that I'm going to address, you know, on my small segment of that day when we have the workshop. So people that's watching, that's really kind of on the fence, because out of events that I've done and that I've seen, people are really going back and forth with trying to determine if they're going to do this. And I really, you know, the thought is, I can do it later. Like, there's no sense of urgency on it now, on this 2019 record-breaking year.
Wow.
So, what, you know, I really sense that kind of like a nonchalant thing to it. What would you say of why those that are on the fence should attend the workshop?
If you don't tell your own story, you're giving permission for someone else too.
That's good.
And then you have no control.
Yeah.
And in this day and age with social media, you can put up a blog in 5 minutes, right? Take control over your own story.
Yeah.
It's yours. You can decide what you want to share and how you want to share it. instead of waiting until you're gone and somebody else can decide how they want to tell your story and the picture they want to paint of you and the life you lived.
Right.
What will you choose?
Yeah.
Because it's your choice.
That is so good. I literally wrote that down, and I will be quoting that.
Please,
I will be quoting that because that's so true and it's so good. People don't realize that not making a choice is in fact making a choice.
That's right.
So I'm so excited now. Audra, tell everybody where they can find your books and your social media information.
Sure. You can find my books right on my website. It's audraupchurch.com, AudraUpchurch, audraupchurch.com. Go to the books tab and you'll see all the information there. And you can follow me anywhere on social media at Authentic Audra, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Authentic Audra. Or if you are looking to write your meaningful manuscript and you have a bunch of questions, you can come hang out in my Facebook community, Mastering Meaningful Manuscripts. We'll definitely welcome you in. And that's for the ladies, sorry, for the ladies.
Thank you so much, Audra. You are a jewel. I am so excited that I will see you in the next 2 weeks.
Yay. I'm excited as well. And thank you so much for having me. You are amazing, Kiana. And guys watching, make sure you're at the workshop. And when you get there, give her a big old hug. My schedule is bananas. But when she reached out to me, I knew I had to make this time to connect with her. One, I just had to see her again.
Yeah.
And two, you mean that much to her that she wanted to put this together. So if you've ever considered of sharing your story, make sure you make it down to the event. And we will do everything we can to make sure you leave armed and prepared to produce your meaningful manuscript.
Yeah, thank you so much, sis. And I will talk to you guys soon. If you guys have any questions, please put us in the event group and get your questions ready for that day so Audra can answer your questions. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next 2 weeks. Please inbox if you need anything else. Blessings, guys. Good night.
Bye, guys.